Welcome back, everybody, to the Inside Texas Baseball Show. I'm your host, Evan Veith, as always, joined by Nash Talks Texas right next to me. Unfortunately, Nash, you're not right next to me in Hawaii, where I'm at, for those who watched the basketball show earlier this week. This will be the last time you'll see me out here. Hopefully, I'm going to have a more consistent backdrop for the rest of these shows, at least starting up in August. Before we get started here, of course, you have to hear about what Inside Texas is giving you this month up until that Ohio State game for Texas football. Just $1 to join the best website you can find for all of college football, baseball, and basketball reporting, specifically for the Texas Longhorns, but also just about the college sports world in general. $1 until that Ohio State game gets you all the coverage from Nash and I on baseball, Keenan and I on basketball, and everyone on the staff on football, with recruiting season really heating up recently, if you're paying attention to that. And, of course, our very own Paul Wadlington, who's a part of that, has dropped his 2025 Longhorn Football Prospectus, part of his Thinking Texas Football series. It's the best book you can read about everything Texas Longhorns, probably the best overall source you can find to learn about this new season, both the Longhorns and the SEC, and even some recruiting. It's just a great spot to go to it for a pretty good price on everything Texas football. But, of course, Nash, we're here to talk baseball, and this last week was a big one. We kind of had our Monday show during the draft this last week, which made it a little weird because there were some – these guys we know are drafted, these guys we don't know are drafted yet. When we were doing our show around about 12:30 East or Central Time, a lot hadn't happened yet, and pretty much as the show got dropped, domino after domino, players getting drafted. A lot of guys drafted a little bit higher than you'd hope, and some guys that are going to end up signing or have signed that you were kind of banking on making it to Austin next year, and maybe we could have done a little bit better job of reporting that going in. Nash, just take yourself back to last week on Monday, what your reaction was to some of these picks, and were any of them surprising or just ones that you think should have gone a different way for this Texas team?
Yeah, I mean, we sound very, very confident about landing Caleb Freeman and Jack Marnick, and I mean, you look at those two guys, and I think that this is also a deal where I don't think that we were necessarily in our own little boat out there, with the confidence. I think that confidence was kind of a consensus feel, but they ended up going to the professional ranks. They just sometimes there's nothing that you can do. You can do just about anything that you want to try and tempt them to stay and stay committed to Texas, but they wanted to go to the MLB, and there's honestly nothing that we could have done to stop them. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And you saw how they go out there and they handle it. Well, they've had a backup plan in place, and you saw them go and attack and grabbing Ashton Larson. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but yeah. So I mean, watching that draft, it just kind of it was like, okay, well, there's Marnick, he's gone. Okay, crap. Now Freeman's gone. All right, and then it's like, okay, crap. Outside of that, the pitchers though, the freshman pitchers, watching those guys just not get drafted. Cozart. Oh my God, you want to talk about just Crossland, hey,
that was the big one.
Step on down, baby. Step on down. I'd love to have all y'all come to campus for learn from the Max Wiener.
And I think what happened on Monday and kind of in Swing Tuesdays, all of us kind of had this shock reaction of, man, I didn't think Freeman would go that high. We had a feeling that Saunier would maybe go and then sign because his role would be a little different on this Texas team this next year. It would be harder for him to truly elevate up where he could just go to the majors. But it ended up being about 12 players signed for this Texas team, or selected for this Texas team, which if you'd give me that number, knowing that Ballou, Spencer, Galvan, Flores, Saunier, for sure, Fiend and Cunningham, for sure, only 5 more guys after that, I wouldn't have been as upset just hearing that. But I think what really affected Texas is it's these guys who were going to be coming in as transfers, super immediate impact players, which short-term hurts. You wanted Freeman for this year. You wanted Marnick for this year. You wanted Dotson, who we'll kind of get a little more into that in a little bit. But like you said, specifically with the freshmen, Texas is securing some 3-year players that you asked me a month or two ago if they were going to make it to campus. I would have said no shot. Crossland, no shot. He was a top 90, I think. Prospect was expected to go the first 3-4 rounds. Anthony Pack Jr., maybe not quite the prospect, but as a recruit, he was seen as a higher rated recruit. And he just completely didn't get taken when we thought he would be someone that would immediately be gone. So it really helped that this freshman class is going to be one of the best in the nation, just purely hitting that spot. We did see some players that we remember go and are going to be gone. Max Ballou, 74 to the Rockies, has not signed yet. Seems like one where it would make a lot of sense for him to sign. With what happened with Marnick and Freeman, you never know because Texas has a reason to throw some NIL money his way and go, hey, one more year, go one last ride with him. Hasn't signed yet. Jared Spencer at 322 to the Blue Jays was a senior. He's gone. Rylan Galvan to the White Sox at 376. We have not heard him sign yet. I wouldn't get your hopes up because Carson Tinies are here in Austin still. Just got drafted pretty late. I thought there's no way there's 15 catchers that should have been drafted ahead of him, but
No,
there was.
I was going to say specifically on Rylan Galvan. That's like people want to bring up the leverage and all that. There were I think 8 by the time he had been drafted. There were 8 catchers ahead of him that were in the same exact leverage boat. I that's one that really just personally I was talking with a certain Texas Longhorn player that we might have already talked about here, and he was telling me that bat's not a 13th round bat, and I agree with that. That bat is better than 13th round, and yeah, no, it's sorry to cut you off, but yeah, no, that one.
No, you're good.
That one irked me,
and it's not even he doesn't even have the worst leverage case. Yeah, he doesn't have the worst leverage case because he's still a junior, right? He could have come back. Obviously, your goal is to sign that junior money.
He doesn't have an option in next year's draft. But at the same time, are you going to get much worse than you got with this 13th round selection?
That's a good point. And hey, still not signed yet. You never know, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. Jalen Flores at 330. The Cardinals signed. He's gone. We expected that. Texas already found his replacement. It seemed like he was kind of both sides with like that greener pastures idea. And then Grayson Saunier at 516, mentioned earlier, going to the Astros, going to be staying in Texas. It seems like a good spot to where he can make a little bit of money early, take a chance on himself. Relief pitchers are never going to go that high. So make your way slowly up through the minors and make an MLB eventually, get your money. Good for Grayson Saunier. Gavin Feen, 12th overall, not signed yet. He will sign. He already said that. He's just debating how many millions he's going to get from his spot. Casey Cunningham at 18 did sign. Robert Xavier Mitchell, he is signed with the Angels. He got a bag. He was one of the 10 highest paid players outside of the priority rounds. He was I want to say 12th or 13th round pick, I believe 13th, to the Angels, and he made some like 8th, 7th round money there. So good for him. Obviously, you're going to take that if you're him. No worries from that. And then Grayson Bowles was another prep arm who got drafted by the Royals. Nothing official yet, but it seems like he's going to take that money. I think he was like an 18th round pick or 16th round pick, something around that area. Just such a loaded class coming in. He should take that chance to go to the MLB. And then, of course, Jack Marnick, Caleb Freeman, Luke Dotson. Dotson officially has signed with the Diamondbacks. It seems like Freeman has officially signed with the White Sox. And Marnick, we don't know, but everywhere he has is a Nationals hat, Nationals in the bio, Instagram, Twitter. It seems like he's pretty attached to the Nationals. There's no Longhorns on that thing. Listen, go Nats. Love the curly W. At least he's going to one of my teams, but not going to make it. So that is kind of the recap here.
I feel like you're a little too happy over here talking about Marnick and Fine not making it to Fiend, not making it to campus. But
I don't care about the Rangers. Fiend made his money, is what it is.
Oh, I for some reason I don't know why I thought Fiend was there. I meant to. I have a question to ask you on your number 1 overall pick. That's what it was. I got it.
Oh,
yeah. We're going to talk about that here. We're going to talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we'll talk. We can talk about that after the show.
Yeah,
we're sticking to Texas now. But yeah, so that's basically your 12-player rundown of who's gone, who's drafted. Just your early impressions of what happened in this draft haul for Texas. You were very negative, at least in some of our group chats at first. A week later, where have you kind of settled with where this team has landed after this draft?
Man, I'll have here because we've already mentioned most of it. Have Homer pull up the team graphic. I mean, I'm feeling really, really good. I know, like I'm an emotional bunch. Okay, I'm an emotional fan, so I will admit, draft day, there might have been a few tweets that I might have left on, unsend and might have deleted them because I was down the dumps. I was like, man, Freeman's gone. We got no left fielder now. I was feeling bad, but now all of a sudden, I mean, you look at Anthony Pack Jr., we still don't know if he's 100% going to make it to campus, but like the options are really, really slim,
Why
and
wouldn't he?
he would just really have to not want to be in college to not sign. Uh, you go and you look at they added Ashton Larson after losing a Jack Marnick. Ashton Larson, we'll talk more about him in a little bit, but absolutely amazing ad right there. Aiden Robbins, another great ad. Timo Becerra, I feel great. We've talked about the defense. All the errors are on that self-kept field, so player kept field. So, I mean, you look at the infield. Infield is looking pretty solid. Josh Livingston, he looks like he's got a shot to actually get into the DH or first base spot. Carson Tenney got him amazing confidence in that. The pitchers, that's the one that really, man. You look at just the ability to have Sam Cozart, McKernan, Crossland, and Rummel.
All these guys get there.
I think I put it in my article. Like I was expecting, like we'd be in a great spot if we just landed 3 or 4 of those guys, and it's like we landed all 4. So I mean, and then you add in like some Westfall, Brody Walls, Paris, Michael Winter was a big one too, out of nowhere, like a big bomb on draft day. Like, hey, by the way, big freshman, just big and this is in the baseball world of recruiting. That doesn't like you usually get your commits like Anthony Pack Jr. has been committed since I think like 2023. Like so, it's like this is in the world of where baseball commits is really like you usually get them as freshmen in high school and sophomores in high school. To have Michael Winter, who is a massive was high on draft boards, to have him just say out of nowhere, like I don't know out of nowhere, Texas. But for fans it was out of nowhere. I mean that was just massive. But this
team it's still loaded, and I think we can get into it. First, let's hear from Josh Holden. But this team is still going to be a great spot, Texas fans, no matter what you thought Nash was saying last week.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, you need to contact Josh Holden. The Metroplex is massive, and the local real estate market is full of nuances and subtleties only an experienced agent like Josh can help you navigate. From Preston Hollow to Highland Park, Uptown to Old East Dallas, Josh will be there to guide you through the process of buying or selling your home. Now, Josh is a UT grad, a lifetime Texas X. He's reliable, savvy, and from a personal perspective, he's a really great guy to chat with. So why don't you give him a call and chat with him today about your real estate needs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. His number is 972-917-8081. That's 972-917-8081. Or you can reach him at his website, which is joshholdenrealestate.com. All the contact details are in the description below. Thanks so much. And back to the show.
So, of course, when you see the likes of Freeman, who we were very excited for, honestly, that was one that hurt because so much positional versatility. Was maybe going to DH, was maybe going to play first, left field, whatever you wanted him to do. But he was going to take one of these important spots. And that's unfortunate for Texas that they lost that. Marnick was going to be a starting outfielder for this Texas team. But dangerous specifically, dangerous bats and pro-level bats. But specifically, let's go back to this pitching that you were touching on a little bit, because Texas, outside of Saunier, Dotson, and Mitchell, were going to be part of this rotation. Specifically, Saunier and Dotson in the bullpen. But just looking at this overall pitching staff, how good does it look to see that Cal Higgins for sure is coming back? Hayden LeFew as a lefty is coming, and then all these freshmen. I mean, what's the ceiling for this team? Because that, for me specifically, is still the identity of this Longhorn team, and it still looks really good after what happened in the draft.
I mean, like I was saying, Max Weiner, he's got to be just like jumping with joy through the roof. Like, I mean, like we're talking about how many times have we broken record? Hey, this was a top 5 staff going from last year, right? And so of the names that they've lost, Jared Spencer, big time guy, big time name, right? But you could argue, I mean, no, it's gonna matter. It's gonna come down to how much was it the flu? But even if it wasn't the flu, you look at the starting pitching lineup. We got enough candidates right there to be able to replace Jared Spencer. So it's not that
Yep.
It's not that he's not talented, right? But I'm not worried about losing him. The next three guys, Will Mercer. I mean, Will Mercer, while he was an amazing, he's going to be one of the biggest what if stories of Texas baseball
Yeah.
in my lifetime, because both the 2024 staff and the 2025 staff both raved about him in the fall, said that he was the best pitcher on the team, and then just arm just takes a crap for right at the beginning of the season. So,
Yep.
unfortunate timing for him. But then you go and you look at Andre Duplantier and then Grayson Saunier. It's between those two guys. It's not that much. There's just not that much impact in innings that you're losing. So to have a top 5 staff returning all that they are, and then you go and you look, oh, hey, by the way, we're adding on a Hayden LeFew, a Cal Higgins, a Sam Kozar, a McKernan, a Crossland, a Rummel. You're going to be able to replace those dudes out of those names that I just listed. And then even the Michael Winter, the Ferguson, all those other guys. I mean, Max Wiener's going to be able to have his pitching staff. And I'm confident in the pitching staff's ability to, improve.
Yep. And Saunier and Duplantier combined for 50 innings this last year. Obviously, you're losing Spencer, which is a big chunk, but Duplantier and Saunier, 9 and 10 in the total innings pitched for this team. That's just going to be elevated. It's going to be Hudson Hamilton. It's going to be Ethan Walker, Cody Howard. I think a big thing also is that because you're seeing hey, look at how many freshman names you had to put on that right side of the graphic. There are just so many numbers there. And some of these guys are just going to redshirt and probably not be rostered players for this year and then come in the next. But it makes the losses of it's going to be really competitive. It's going to make the losses of Rarick and Navarre specifically in my head, and even some of these other kind of freshman / redshirt freshman, sophomore guys. It makes sense now, given that maybe some guys like Schlosing and Wiener knew that Crossland and Westfall and Rummel wanted to come to campus or whatever it was. But yeah, these guys who were more of David Pierce guys didn't pitch a lot last year. You're just replacing them with guys that Schlosing and Wiener trust a little bit more a year earlier, and they're coming in probably a little bit more talented. Navarro and Rarick are both very high recruits, but you have more years of eligibility. They're more of Schlosing and Wiener's guys. It just makes the staff so deep, and that's what you were looking out for in this draft to happen, and it worked out so well.
And Rarick and Navarre too; those are specifically guys that followed Max Wiener and Jim Schlossnagle from A&M. But I mean, you look at the impact; they didn't have much of an impact, and it's not to say that they weren't talented arms. I mean, Drew Rarick, I know Max Wiener was really high on him, and they wanted to keep him on the roster. Like that was a deal where that's certainly a loss, but at the same time, I mean, like out of the names that we just listed, there's multiple of those guys that can throw 97 like Rarick, big guys, right off the top of my head, Brett Crossland, like it's almost he's just like, okay, giant. There's Drew Rarick, there's Drew Rarick this next year. But I just the way that I look at that is I look at the Dylan Volantis right there. And it just makes me wonder which of these names is now. I'm not saying these guys are going to be one of these guys is even going to be a Dylan Volantis, because Dylan Volantis don't just come along. Don't just come along.
It's a rarity.
It's a special set of circumstances that get Dylan Volantis onto a college roster. But which of these names, are going, because multiple of the, it's probably going to be around 2 or 3 of these names that you're going to see like a decent amount of innings, and you're going to see some
in conference play
from them. And that's just kind of the exciting part to me, is looking at all these names and wondering which one is it, which guys, because there are going to be some talented guys out of that roster or out of that lineup that they are going to challenge some of these guys that, like an Ethan Walker, Cody Howard, Jason Flores. They're going to challenge these guys for innings.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing we need to talk about now is, of course, the pitching staff looks good, but we've got a newly revamped offense here. You're seeing some new names in there, and the newest name, of course, is Ashton Larson, who about 6 days ago, a little bit after the draft, probably an immediate reaction to knowing that Marnick's gone, knowing that Freeman's gone, and knowing that you need one more starter, because Livingston at this point probably is the team's DH, or Rodriguez is, and Borman plays third, however they want to do it. Livingston probably needs to be in a smart starting spot here, which is fine. That was the original plan with him. He then kind of ended up being a 10th man, and then you lose some starters back to being in the lineup. But Ashton Larson's a very new name for a lot of you guys coming out here. Left fielder from LSU that came in the portal. why was this the target that Texas went after, and what is he going to bring to this outfield? And do you truly think he's just a plug and play starter for this team?
Easily plug and play starter. I mean, this guy, you look at this out of the two, it's kind of funny that like it's almost and I don't think it's coincidental that you see this too. Left field and right field, Ashton Larson and Aiden Robbins, those two guys are the only two guys that are on the Texas roster playing in the Cape Cod League that were on the All-Star game. So Ashton Larson has been performing not only we'll talk about his previous performance, but he's performing currently in a wood bat league against some of the best college players that that have to offer. And then you go to Aiden Robbins. Aiden Robbins has been heating up a ton, but
Yeah.
so getting those bats like that, it's no surprise. But Ashton Larson, this is a dude that he's rated like 264 and the 64 analytics, and I love 64 analytics, and I'm not trying to crap on them, but there's no way he's that low rated of a player. And this is, I think this is a case of the algorithm kind of having too much say into something. You've even seen the guy that runs the Twitter account for 64 analytics, that Carson Tenney. He kind of thinks that Carson Tenney should be rated higher, so they might have to play with the they might have to play with the algorithm later on. And we'll kind of see how that happens. But Carson Tenney, there's no way that he's the third best catcher in the pool. He's the only catcher that's he was one of 3 finalists and the only finalist for the Buster Posey Award that's returning in college baseball. In my opinion, safe to say he's the best returning college catcher. Ashton Larson, I mean, you go and you look at the hitting for him. As a freshman, he led the LSU Tigers in batting average with a 337 in conference batting average. Conference play. Like Tennessee's, Texas A&M's, like good baseball teams. And while they didn't have the same, they had probably really similar results that Texas had. Like they weren't making I don't think they even made the tournament this last the year before in 2024. So kind of disappointing, but Ashton Larson, he got relegated down into a pinch hitting role. And it seemed that, starting wasn't in the cards for him moving forward. This is a really talented bat, really talented. I don't want to say he's not gonna be like some demon on the bases or anything like that. But what you're getting a lot of SEC experience, and I mean he was on the national title team, so he has experience of playing in a deep run for Omaha.
And I think with Larson, you're getting a lefty bat, which was important for this team. You lost Freeman. That was one of the things he brought was a switch hitting thing. So you needed to have that still in the lineup. He's also another one of these athletes, these 6'2", 210 outfielders that they like to bring in a bigger player. And like you said, even though he kind of lost favor with the staff this past year, coming in as a freshman and being able to play that much, he was about 8th in at-bats on that team, but 6th or 7th in OPS for them. Really, really strong numbers. And that's the kind of player where if you told us 2 years later that he'd be on this Texas roster, you go, there's no way. This is a guy who's going to be looking to get drafted pretty high from a really good LSU team. And that's why
LSU fans, they'd
be like, no shot in hell.
They might have shot you on.
That's why you look at his 2025 numbers and you're a little less enthused with what you got. But this is not the kind of guy where you're going to be down on him being a starting left fielder. And the outfield is different for sure. There's no Marnak. Freeman, who was probably going to play in rotation there, isn't going to be there. But you're replacing that with Larson and Anthony Pat getting there. We didn't really expect. Technically, still could maybe not make it, but feels like his best shot is to go play for Texas and go play in college ball. So if he's making it out there to the outfield, that's another guy who can play. And if you need to give Jonah Williams some rest, that's a guy who can do it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I look at this is you want to talk about like the level of like what Ashton Larson meant to LSU fans. Adrian Rodriguez batted 329. It's literally like if Adrian Rodriguez were to be on LSU's roster in 2 years. Like Texas fans would be rightfully so very mad if they heard that
very
news.
upset.
So, I mean, it's one of these, and I think it just kind of goes to show like how crazy the new college baseball world, not just college baseball, but I think baseball has found a way to exacerbate. Just like, I mean, the portal's far out of control in a lot of sports, but baseball is It's just the cover's been blown
really
off.
bad.
But yeah, Ashton Larson. It's just it's wild to think that the elite, a solid contributor to a team like an LSU, because to play on an LSU team, right? I don't care if they're not a team that if they're a team that doesn't go, doesn't make the title, or not title, but doesn't make the tournament at all. They're not even field of 64. To start as a freshman on the team like LSU is not like that's just not something to just blow off. So
Yeah,
I mean, this is a talented kid.
yeah.
He's
Former
not a
top
talented.
100 recruit, former draft pick. Just one last question coming in. Texas has two guys who feel like stars on this team with Rodriguez and Tinney, specifically on the hitting side of things. You've got some great returners like Mendoza, Borba Williams, another 4 transfers who are probably going to be starting for this team. This deadline for signees is the 1st of August. That's when you're going to hear about, especially the guys like Ballou, but everyone involved, all 12 of the draft picks, what they're going to be doing. The transfer portal is still open during that time. Texas can still go and get players. It's how they got Larson. Now that we have a much, much more defined and set in concrete look at this roster, do you think there's anywhere or any position that they're going to go and say, hey, maybe we can look for an upgrade here. Maybe there's one more piece left that we need. And I think that answer is probably going to be on the hitting side of things, if so, right?
Yeah, I would say they're probably still looking for. I mean, because and you look at this too deep in the outfield. I mean, even if you got an Anthony Pack coming in, right? Every single one of the backups is freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You're an injury away from Adrian. We're tossing you back out in left field,
Back
right?
in left field.
So I mean, like it's one of these deals where I think that, and this is just me thinking. I have no inside information on this or anything like that, but I do believe that they will continue to attack the outfield, try and get some depth there, and then maybe add another utility guy or a DH guy, because
Yep.
I mean, you look at it like of those DHs. I mean, Josh Livingston is the only one that's not starting, projected to start on that. So it's a deal where whoever's not DHing is starting somewhere else. So it's one of those.
There's no backup.
They would probably like to add in, a couple more names, but I mean, I am feeling confident, and also I will trust in what Jim Schlossing and Nolan Kane have their plans, because they obviously know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think
They
those
make
exactly
for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the two spots that I was thinking. Players that aren't going to clog long term. Late guys in their careers. A DH who's just a power bat who's looking to go to the MLB next year, needs an upgraded spot. But that's about it, and that's going to be it for us today over Inside Texas Baseball. Big draft recap, of course. Talked a lot about just some of these guys and where they're going to be going. Texas, as much as you might have seen Nash's Twitter and expected us to come on here and just completely dump on what happened, it wasn't a disaster. And there's still some really good silver linings that came out of this, especially from the freshman pitchers. Before we go, of course, just one more reminder, $1 right now to subscribe over at InsideTexas.com. It's the best place you can go for Texas reporting. Football recruiting is in such an awesome place right now for this Longhorn team. You're going to want to be on these boards because it is just, pure entertainment from all that. And, of course, Paul Wadlington's Thinking Texas Football, the 2025 Longhorn Football Prospectus. Just an awesome book that he's published. And with us getting, it's only a month and 9 days away, you're going to want to be able to read this and get it down before that Ohio State game to be ready for this Texas football season. Baseball still got some time to go, Nash. So we're going to be in Texas football mode pretty soon until fall ball comes around. So for now, you guys can watch some Cape Cod League stuff and keep up with recruiting. But that's going to do it for us here at Inside Texas Baseball. I've been your host, Evan Beath, as always, joined by Nash Talks Texas. Thank y'all for watching and have a good one.
Welcome.